In this video, I will show you how to create an email template and how you can send this and a serial email with it. To do this, open the email job you already saved in Trainingsvideo 2 in the Job Settings window. After you have already added the source data from an Excel file, we will open the item Email Template. You can now see 3 warning triangles here, one for each error notification. That means that when you have rectified these error messages, you are ready to send your first serial emails without actually creating one. Next to the input field, select Email Template. You will see 3 icons that you will encounter frequently in the emailer. You have already met the folder symbol in the previous video. By clicking this icon, you always select a directory in settings that will be needed at this point. By contrast, use the folder symbol in the job settings to select a file. When you click on the plus icon, something new is always created. And by clicking the pencil icon, allows you to edit something already present. In this case, the icons relate to the email template. As you do not yet have an email template, create a new one by clicking on the plus symbol. A new window, the HTML editor, opens. Now look a little more closely at the HTML editor. In the top area, there is a so-called multifunction bar, just as you know from other Windows applications. On the left-hand side, you can see the all-column headings, field variables, from the Excel file. You can open or close these with a click. Direct to the right of it is the subject of the field, and below it the body of the email. Look at the possible commands in the multifunction bar in turn. Begin with the HTML editor. New is like resetting the view. All inputs already undertaken are deleted from the view. However, all entries saved are kept. An already created email template can be loaded with Open. And the email template can be saved with Save As. It will also be saved anyway if you click on the Transfer Template button in the footer line. Now go to View. Draft is the view in which the email template is created and edited. HTML code shows the HTML code of the email. It is, however, also possible to add HTML code created with another program. In the draft or preview, this code is converted into the correct view. You see the finished layout in Preview. You cannot edit in this view. Continue to the clipboard. Cut, copy and paste functions here, just as in all other window applications. Paste from Word is a special function. If you highlight and copy Word text, invisible formatting is also copied with it, which could really disrupt the HTML code. For this reason, it is not recommended that you paste directly copied Word texts into HTML applications. The Word text is cleaned up with the Paste from Word function so that it cannot cause any problems. Another window is opened for the Paste from HTML function. Already created HTML code, for example, designed newsletters in responsive design, can be imported in 2 ways using this pop-up window. In the first, include images in the email means that images that have to be used in an email do not have to be loaded into the email from outside to be shown. The advantage is that the images do not have to be stored on a server on the web. The disadvantage is that the email could become really large. The other, link images to a directory on the web, is the version most frequently used for newsletters. This requires a directory on the web in which the images are located. The image itself is then no longer in the email itself, only the link to the image is stored, and therefore it is not so large. The HTML text is loaded into the emailer according to the selection by clicking on Import. This HTML text can be edited in the emailer itself. For example, to add personalized data from the Excel file. The text block shows the possibilities for formatting the text in the emailer. These functions will be well known to a Windows user. Change to Edit. A series of functions which you will rarely need and are ultimately self-explanatory are concealed behind Document Style. If you have changed something that you did not intend to, you can set everything back to the original state with one click on the Undo button. If you only want to change the background color, then click on Document Background. The function is the same as in the document style under the menu Color and Background. You just need one click fewer. Search-Replace. The Search Replace function is a standard function which is familiar from the Windows programs. Change to the last function block, Add. If you wish to insert a URL in the text, then highlight the text in the email and select Link. The highlighted text is transferred into the field, Displayed Text. The actual URL has to be entered into the URL field. If the destination tick box is selected, a further HTML can be selected in the drop-down list, which can be sent with the URL. The entered URL can be tested by clicking on Open URL. The link is created by clicking OK. The link can only be tested in the email template in the Preview. Images should not be copied and pasted via the clipboard, but always via the Image function. This ensures that the image does what it is supposed to. As images behave completely differently than they do in Word, for example, I will quickly show you the two possibilities for inserting images. To do this, I will use any picture from the internet. I will enter car into Google. Here we have a very nice car. I move the mouse onto the picture, right-click and select Copy Image Address. And now enter the picture address here, using Control. Without explaining it fully now, I will show you the preview of the email as it will later be sent. To do that, I will have to quickly fill in a few mandatory fields to be able to get to the preview. One is the email connection. I can select here via the drop-down menu one of my email addresses added in my settings, from which I would like to send the emails for this job. I also need the recipient of the email. As this is concerned with serial emails, I have to select the recipient EN from a column from my assigned Excel file. In the drop-down list, I can see all possible Excel columns. The email addresses in my case are located in the email column. Perhaps you noticed that the warning triangles and the error messages have disappeared. I now change to the preview with Continue, without explaining this in detail now. Here we can see the preview of the email. The car previously selected in the email template is just as visible as how we inserted it. What you have to know though is that images inserted via a web link are not stored in the email. I will now send myself a test email. You will remember that I entered the test email address in the settings. As you can see, I do not have an image in my saved email, only this little square. You might be aware of that from many advertising emails where this technology is also used. Move to the square and with the right mouse key select Download Images, and the picture soon loads. This only works, of course, if the image is also stored under the specified URL. I'll now go back again and show the result with a locally stored image. To do this, I go back into Job Settings and click on the pencil in Email Template to edit the already created template. I click on the image and delete it with the Delete key. Now I insert a local picture. We finish the editing with Transfer Template and switch back to Preview. This looks similar to how it was with the car. I now send the test email. Let's look at the results. Here we see the image directly in the email. It no longer needs to be downloaded. So now you have seen both ways of inserting images in HTML. Let's go back to the email template with a click on the pencil. First, I will just explain the last function symbol. This function allows you to insert frequently used symbols, such as the diameter symbol, into your text directly by clicking the symbol. Let's look below the multifunction bar on the left-hand side at the field variables. If these are not visible, just click on the arrow above the name Field Variables. These field variables correspond exactly to the column headings in the assigned Excel file. If you change the column heading in the Excel file, this list also changes. Immediately to the right, we have a field with the subject of the email, and directly below it, the body of the email. We will use the email template present to write the serial email. I want to indicate the invoice to be attached later in the subject of the email. Therefore, I write quarterly invoice. Then I would also like the time interval, which is in the Excel file under period. I insert this with a double click, and my computer details for better classification. Now we will also write a personal greeting. Hello, space, then gender, space and surname. In the text, I also refer to the invoice period with period. Use this as a variable so that I do not have to change the template for the next invoice for a different period. I then complete the text without further data from the Excel file. The changes to the email template are simultaneously saved with Transfer Template. Now let's go to the preview again and look at the result. In place of the column headings, the data from the Excel file has now been inserted. I can move one data set forward or backwards using the arrow buttons and look at the emails created to check if they look as intended. The display email is sent from the preview by clicking Test Mail. As I am happy with the result, I could now send all the emails by clicking Execute. I only want to do that though when I have added all the necessary attachments. I'll go back again to the job settings to explain one last thing about the section Email Template. Recipients' email addresses can be selected as to, CC and BCC on the right-hand side, directly from the Excel file via the drop-down list. It is also possible to select multiple email addresses separated by a semicolon. You can input further email addresses directly as to, CC or BCC on the left-hand side, however. All emails are then also sent to those email addresses. If the tick box Save Email as File in a Directory is selected and a directory selected, then the send email is saved there as a file. Emails sent from an email address in Outlook are saved as MSG files, and those from webmail addresses are saved as EML files. That brings us to the end of this training video. You have seen how you can very easily create an email template and insert personalized data into this email template from an Excel file. You have met the tools available and can use them as required. You have been able to see the email preview, although this is not explained in detail until training video 5. In the next training video, I will show you how to create a serial letter and add this to the serial mail as a finished PDF file, populated with data from the Excel file.